today we're going to talk a little bit about the idea of stress. And so to start with, we're going to do a strategy that is called Think, Pair, Share. So this strategy is one that you can use all the time for all kinds of different things. Just if you ask a question of the class and they all kind of stare at you with this glare in their eyes and nobody really knows what you're talking about, then you could do a Think, Pair, Share activity. Okay, so just quickly we'll kind of go through how it works. So basically if I asked you a question like, for example, a lot of times students say they struggle with stress. What is stress? What exactly is stress? How would you define stress? So then I would say, okay, think to yourselves for about 10 seconds about what is stress. And I'm going to ask you to share those ideas in a second with a partner. Okay, and so that's the think part. Now the pair part is you're just going to turn to the person beside you and just have a little discussion about what you think stress is. So go ahead and do that. Okay, and stop. So we've done the think part, you thought to yourself. We've done the pair part, you've had a chance to speak with a partner. And now I would just have different groups share it. And the beauty of Think, Pair, Share is that students, again, don't feel centered out. They've had an opportunity to think to themselves, to share with a partner. And now as the teacher, when you ask of them, what is stress? If I was to ask that, everybody in the class would have an answer. Okay, they'd be able to say something. So it's a real safety net to feel safe in the classroom when you're able to do that. So that's Think, Pair, Share. So we're going to move along to another strategy. This one is called Post-it Pilot. So I've already given you Post-it notes. Each of you has a Post-it note in the class here. And so again, we're going to talk a little bit about stress because that's one context in which it's used in fourth hour activities. And so what I'd like you to do is you're going to write one idea per Post-it when I give you the topic, and you're just going to post those beside you, but where you can kind of see all of your ideas lined up. And you're going to have about 20 seconds to write down your ideas. So the question I want you to think about is I want you to think that right now, pretend you're a grade 8 student. For a grade 8 student, what causes stress? Okay, so go all the way back to when you were in grade 8. What causes stress? Write one idea per note and just post it beside you. So no discussion in your group right now. You're just doing that individually. Think of all the different stressors or things that cause stress for you as a grade 8 student. Okay, and I'm going to stop you there, but again, keeping in mind in your class, you're obviously going to give the students probably a full minute to come up with their ideas. Okay, so now what I'd like you to do is in your group, I just want you to number off, so numbered heads from 1 to 4. So go ahead and do that at your table, number off 1 to 4. Okay, great. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with number 1. Number 1 is going to take their idea, any idea, they're going to say it out loud and they're going to post it in the middle of the table. Then what happens is anyone else in the group who has a similar idea to that posts it right on top. Then number 2 gets to go, they post beside because it's a brand new idea. Anyone who has it posts on top. So at the end of this little session, you should have a bunch of different clusters of ideas in the center of your group. All right, so go ahead and do that. Start with number 1. And then go to number 2. And keep going until all of your ideas are spilled out into the middle of the table. Oh, great. You guys are done. Okay, wonderful.
No, I didn't mean that as that. Yeah, I just said
Okay, so again, I know I feel bad for stopping you because you're in the middle of your activity. Again, you would continue that process right until everyone has a chance to put all of their ideas into the center. So now you've got a cluster of ideas, 4 or 5 or 6 in the middle, and then you would have the students narrow it down. So they would come to a consensus of, okay, you know, let's pick, I would have them usually pick the top 3 ideas and decide which 3 they want to share and have each group share. Another thing that you could do, which is kind of fun, is, so say this group says, what's one that you guys had? High school, that's a big one, right? That students are already starting to worry about high school in grade 8. So we could also put that up on the board, high school, and then any of the other groups who have it can come and post it. So we can do a large class post-it pilot as well, just using an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper and posting those up, and you get to see what all of the ideas were in the class, which is kind of a neat way to look at it too. Students tend to love this activity because it's kind of neat. As you're doing it, it's like playing cards in a way, you know, you're each taking your turn. They also seem to like the idea that sometimes they come up with an idea that nobody else has, so it makes them think, oh, I'm brilliant. Or at the same time, you know, just that validity of, oh, this must be a good idea because I'm posting it and a lot of other people had that same thought. So for whatever reason, and it's just a simple little, you know, sticky note thing, but they do like it. So this activity goes on to talk about stress, emotional and physical symptoms of stress, etc., and goes into as well coping strategies at the end, which is the important piece to it, I think. So yeah, so that's it for that one. Questions about the strategy itself, about Post-it Pilot? Yes?
I love the idea, but in my classroom I have a lot of ESL students where English is their second language.
Right.
And I'm concerned that they likely wouldn't be able to write. So
Yep.
do you have any suggestions what we could do at that time?
Yeah, that's a great point. So normally what I would suggest is if you do have students in your class, ESL students or even students who struggle with literacy in general, this might be a tricky activity for them and they might feel centered out, right? Because if they can't think of things to write down. So normally then in that case, you know those students in your class already. So I would pair them up with someone and have it that they're working together with that person to come up with ideas. Because a lot of times they can verbalize some of those ideas, they can even draw them. Whatever normally works in other activities in your class would work in this way too if you pair them up and then share that as basically a pair. Great question. Any other questions with that? No? Okay, great, thank you.